Buhari administration have been in office for just about a year now. What do we make of that first year in office from the Buhari administration? And the whole change thing that they came into office about, what is that all about? And is it making a difference? Is Nigeria itself ready for change? I believe Nigeria is ready for change. I believe that if it wasn't for the readiness of Nigerians, Buhari would never have gotten into office. If it wasn't for the fact that people were sick and tired of what they thought was a destructive path that we were on as a country, we would not have ushered in a new administration. So if there was ever a government in Nigeria that came in on the mandate of change, it's this Buhari administration. What was the mantra? We will do something about security. We will do something about corruption. And we will do something about jobs and the economy. On the issue of security, where are we? When they were coming in, Boko Haram was having a field day in the northeast of Nigeria. The whole northeast was under lockdown. Boko Haram had destroyed a number of bridges, a number of roads. They wanted to carve out a caliphate. Some would argue with you that behind the whole Boko Haram menace was, yes, an element of criminality. Second, an element of religious discontent. But mostly there was a political economy behind the whole Boko Haram movement. And it seems like the discovery of oil in the northeast, Lake Chad Basin to be specific, seem to have been driving some of the movements. But you will notice that normally in Nigeria, where the political class are unhappy or feel unable to get what they want out of the central state, that there tends to be a lot of violence coming up in form of some kind of insurgency. So in steps Buhari, who immediately gives marching orders to the chiefs of staff, sends them all to Maiduguri, moves the command center there, and before too many months, the Boko Haram issue was under control. Today, there are flights to Maiduguri at least 3 times a week, and things are returning to normal. And as a country, we're talking about rebuilding. We can even add to that the fact that at least one, if not more, of the Chibok girls has been safely returned home. So where would you put Buhari, therefore, on the issue of security? You'll say perhaps that's one of his stronger points. But if I ask you the question that what happened with the Shiites in Kaduna, is that going to be also a strong point or a sour point? Over the years, there has been fear about the rise of the Shiite movement around Zaria. And there's been a lot of fear. But last year was the first time that the movement actually carried arms, or reportedly that there were people carrying arms within the march of the Shiites. But how did the government quell the so-called show of force by the Shiite movement? If you look at reports by Amnesty International and so on, there are questions that this administration will have to answer about the rights of the individuals in that movement and the persons who were killed. How many people were killed in the whole movement? So there is a bit of a fear around something still coming back to bite this administration out of the Shiite movement. What about Boko Haram itself? Some suggest that by chasing them into Sambisa forest, putting them on the run, some of them have gone to join other movements. And the movement that has been most easy for them to join is the movement of herdsmen. Herdsmen have also started to carry AK-47s. It's not just your stick anymore, it's an AK-47. And we had the incident with the Agatu in Benue State. The clashes that we've been having historically, it's been between herdsmen and farmers, but now it's between herdsmen and entire communities. and there's an attempt to wipe them out. This also, you might say, is just between herdsmen and some people, some disgruntled people, but it's taken on a political dimension. It seems as though some people would want to use an existing problem to destabilize the state. The same way that the Boko Haram discontent was used to attempt to destabilize the state. That isn't all. What about the new resurgence in the Niger Delta, the pipelines that are being blown as well? It then brings you to start to consider, have we taken the right approach? Is this a continuation of the way we dealt with things under the military? Under the military, El Zakzaki was put down, but it was not the end of the Shiite movement. For most of Abacha's administration, El Zakzaki was in jail in Port Harcourt, I'm given to believe. So is that the answer? Because when he came out, the movement was even stronger than it ever was before. We are made to understand that some of the masterminds behind the strategies of the Shiite movement were taken out during the clash with the military this time. So it almost sounds like a calculated response to disable the movement before it becomes a problem. But is that a solution, or have we gone for a short-term issue as well? So how well should we say this administration has done on the issue of security? I think that remains to be debated. But if we're going to say out of 5, we should give a number of stars to this administration for the handling of the security situation, I would give them 3, or possibly between a 3 and a 4 out of 5 in how well they have done on the issue of security.